Hi folks, this is Scott Price with another edition of EEE, Expium's Expedited Explanations. These are short videos to help you maximize the value of your Atlassian tool suite. Today I'm going to give you a brief overview of disabling Websudo in Jira Server. You might not recognize the title, but if you're a Jira administrator, the 10-minute default timeout has probably frustrated you along with all of the rest of us. So today let's figure out how to solve that problem. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is to shut down the Jira server. We're going to be making changes to configuration files, and so we don't need Jira to be running while we do that. Now this is a Windows install, but once you get to the installation and the home directories, the process is essentially the same. Got a little latency. Okay, so now I navigate to my installation directory, program files, Atlassian, and Jira. And then I have a process here, a bat file called stop service. I'm going to stop the Jira service and then we will continue. Okay, Jira service has stopped. Now we need to take a look at the default values for the files we're wanting to change. So if we navigate to WebInf classes, in this directory we have a file called jpm.xml. And the jpm.xml file is a really important file which shows us what the default settings are for all of the properties in Jira. So if we'll open this up, and we will search for our Websudo property, we find here the default value for the property, which is called jira.websudo.is.disabled, and the default value is false, and so that's what's giving us the timeout. Now right next to it we also see the Websudo timeout, which is set at 10 minutes. So one option to this process would be to actually change the timeout setting from 10 minutes to something more like 30 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever makes sense for your organization. You can also disable it entirely by changing this Websudo is disabled property value, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so in the home directory we want to create a new file that will be our jira-config.properties file. And so to do this I need to create a notepad entry, and I'm going to paste my Websudo property, and I'm going to add equals true, because remember the default was false based on the value coming from the jpm.xml file. And so we want to save our notepad here, and we're going to save this as a properties file. So we change to all files here and we make this a Jira config.properties file. I have my home directory saved here, and so this is where I want to go with my Jira config-properties file, and voila, we now have a properties file in our home directory, and we should be able to start services again and see that change take place. So back to the installation directory, start service batch file, and the Atlassian Jira service is starting, and I will log into the administration area and wait for 11 minutes and make sure that that timeout has been successfully disabled. Okay, the Jira service started up. I logged in, navigated to the System tab in Administration, and if our changes made the desired effect, since I've waited 11 minutes, I should be able to navigate to another tab in Administration without having to re-authenticate. So let's try that now. We'll navigate to Issues, and voila, we're able to navigate within Administration without that 10-minute timeout. Okay, just a few parting thoughts. Just want to reiterate the process we went through. We stopped the Atlassian Jira service. I did not do a backup of this instance for the demo, but it's always a good idea if you're changing configuration files to back up your instance. Certainly follow whatever protocol your organization has in place, and then either add the Jira config.properties file or update an existing Jira config.properties file. And then we restarted the Atlassian Jira service, and then we logged in to verify that the problem was solved. So a couple of cautions here that I want to give you before we close out. Whenever we looked at the jpm.xml file, and that was, if you remember, that was in the installation directory under the webinf classes directory. The jpm.xml file contains all of the default configurations for the entire instance. I already had that open. So it's important that you don't try to change the values of this file in the jpm.xml file. This is intended to be static. It's intended to give us the values of all the properties in Jira. It's not intended to be changed, so be sure that you do not change that file. But in the home directory, you can add the jira-config.properties file. And another caveat here is to make sure that it ends up being a properties file, not a text file. So if you were to create a new text document here, we could call it the same thing, .properties, and it would remain a text document. So we want to make sure that we have the .properties as the extension, not as part of the name. So that's a getcha sometimes in Windows environments. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in further exploring disabling Websudo in Jira Server, or want to talk to one of our experienced consultants, go to expium.com and let us know. If this video was helpful, hit the like button. If there's a subject that you'd like to see us discuss in future expedited explanations, let us know in the comments below. Until then, this is Scott Price wishing you success in all your Atlassian adventures.